começarmos essa gameplay, já deixa aquele like no vídeo para ajudar no canal. Não esqueça de se inscrever e ativar o sininho para não perder nenhum conteúdo incrível que vem por aí. E se curtir o vídeo, compartilhe com seus amigos. Vamos juntos nessa jornada. Fique agora com essa gameplay.
You are hardly in any position to make lofty demands. The Council convened and unanimously stripped you of your role. You no longer hold the privileges of the Eye.
And how quickly did you convene that council? You hardly waited for my daughter's body to cool.
She is dead because of you. Because of your reckless behavior and deception, no less.
Harun, how dare you? Every decision I've made, every action I've taken has been for her protection.
Abandoning her at the Grand Gate was for her protection. We all saw you on the scry. And that is Khan Arteme to you, Kenrick.
Is this a bad time?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
No. You're more than welcome at Cassidon's Hold. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
I came to offer my condolences. To both of you.
Oh. Thank you.
In the end, she was braver than any of us could have imagined. She took a stand, and did what she believed was right. I owe her my life.
She was exceptional. It's hard to imagine the Enclave will ever recover from this loss.
Then why are you so opposed to giving her the funeral she deserves?
With the Surgeborn swarming Denevron, we can't risk a trip to the Hallowpire Rise.
For generations, every Stanild has received the right of ashes upon death. Isla will not be the exception to this.
Could I perform the rite on your behalf?
You? Don't tell me you're a Hallowpire priestess on top of being a righteous pain in my ass.
Skies, do you want a funeral or not? She's our best option.
Isla saved my life. I want to help you honor her death.
I suppose you do owe her that. Fine. For the rite of ashes, you need to burn an object that was sacred to the deceased upon the high pyre. As you collect the ashes, you must read a rite aloud to thank the flames for bringing the deceased to rest.
Do you have an object that was sacred to Isla?
Isla's most prized possessions aren't in Cassidon's Hold. She had a secret refuge in Dredger's Mire. You're sure to find something. She was always sneaking away at night to work there.
You knew she was sneaking out of Cassidon's Hold.
I knew my daughter better than she realized. Return to me with the ashes.
Thank you, Brynn.
You must be thinking of running after these emergency measures are finished.
I assure you.
Hey, I can't imagine how you must be feeling.
I am broken. Everyone wants a piece of me. Regardless.
Because you're in charge.
For now. I don't know how I'm supposed to carry on like this. Without her, my support is gone. My family, she wouldn't want me to cry. So I won't.
You can if you need to. I know our Weaver band is still fairly new here, but you've got our support.
The funeral will honor her memory. Even if it's not what he wants, she would understand that it's enough. One day at a time, Brynn. That's all we can promise to ourselves.
Secret refuge. It's actually not too far from Lucia's workshop. Isla dedicated her life to restoring the Arks. Darm's right. We will need to continue her research. But for now, what might she consider sacred for the right? A letter from the Axel. I should take it back to her. A torn Archon. That's sweet. Darm, do you think this could work for the Rite of Ashes?
It's perfect.
Huh. Isla also had a copy of On the Workings of Archons, marked with annotations, just like Lucia's.
Could be useful.
Wait, I'm losing you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Weird. The scry was cutting out.
Strange. At any rate, the book could be useful. Once you've completed the ritual, I'll take a look.
Hold on. End of the lifeline, Brynn. I'll need to place the toy ark on the high pyre. Sad to burn such a sweet toy. Now to collect the ashes. Though the flame abates and the ash grows cold, let she who worshipped you rest in eternal warmth.
Beautiful, Brynn.
I'm sure I will.
There it is again. The scry is cutting in and out. Dom? Aurea?
We're... Can you hear me now?
You're back.
While you bring the ashes to Cassidon's hold, I'll analyze the scry. Something strange is afoot.
I performed the rite, and I brought you the ashes.
Thank you, Brynn. Isla admired you. She would be honored that you did this for her.
It's not how she would have wanted things. I should have been there.
Enough! I know you're grieving. We all are. But you are no longer the Eye. And this disrespectful conduct ends now. You owe Brynn a thank you. And an apology for that matter. And probably a great deal more than that. Not only has she gone out of her way to perform the rite for your daughter. But she saved us all from certain death at the Grand Gate too. None of which she would ever have had to do if it weren't for your...
For my actions! I know! I know! It's all my fault. I should have been there. Not at the temple. At the Grand Gate. I should have stayed. The way she looked at me when I left her there. I'll never forget it. I could fill a city with my mistakes. I should have supported her work. I should never have lied to her. My regrets will drown me.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they should.
My mother used to say, you can drown in your grief, or learn to swim in it. It is unfair that you lost a child, no matter the circumstances. I am so sorry that happened to you. But you can spend the rest of your days counting the ways you failed your daughter. Or you can dedicate every breath you have left to her.
How?
Just do one small thing a day that would make her proud to call you her father. Start by helping us finish the work you wish you had supported in her life.
It's too late for that, I'm afraid. If you'll excuse me. But there is one thing. The Ark in your camp, the one she wanted to restore. It's called the Ark of Verdance. An enchantress named Lucia de Crassus built it.
Lucia.
Consider it a thank you for what you've done.
I need you to know, nobody else has been checking in on me like you have. I feel as if I'm alone in the stifling dark. But even though everything is very hard, I need you to know that I see what you're doing. Thank you.
Of course. It's just the right thing to do.
You laying Isla to rest is what she would have wanted, despite what her father said. You inspired her to be better, braver. It respects her memory to the fullest.
It was the least I could do.
Don't diminish your contributions.
You've got our support. Whatever form that takes.
For what it's worth, I appreciate that.
By the way, I found something that you might want to see. It's a letter I found in the Spindle's hideout. It looked like your handwriting. I didn't read it.
I don't understand why you've been so kind to us, Brynn.
It's okay. I'll let you get back to it, all right?
Likewise. You deserved better from him, but that was probably all he's capable of. Come to think of it, we all deserved better from him.
What will you do now?
Take care of my people. Someone needs to. And you? You're going to try to fix the arcs.
Isla saw something in the Arcs no one else did. The Enclave's legacy, innovation and ambition. We can't let her death be in vain. Her work must be finished.
I wish I could help, but arcs were Isla's expertise, not mine. That arc allowed you to pass safely through the tangles, where Surgeborn go to regenerate. If you're going to try to fix it, consider me heavily invested in your progress.
It's too great an advantage to ignore. I'll keep you updated.
My light. I remember the day you were born, vividly. When I held you, my heart was so full it threatened to break. And I know your mother felt the same way. For all her flaws, she would be so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Have you ever felt like you couldn't trust the people around you?
A few times. But I try my hardest to rebuild that trust when it crumbles. Some people haven't shown they deserve that effort, so they don't get it. Is there something that's putting you on edge?
It's Sev, and how he was collaborating with the Eye behind our backs.
Oh? I can understand, but you didn't exactly seem blown away by the revelation.
I didn't have time to process it. I have now, and the more I think about it, the more upset I feel. Logically, I understand the situation. I can trace the weave of circumstance that forced his hand and led to his deception. I know he had no choice, and I've even forgiven him. I said the words to his face, so why am I still so angry?
That's a tough one.
It reminded me again of Udea. Will the fear and the manipulation follow me forever? Will it taint everything? The secrets, the lies, the subterfuge. The Maida may seem a balmy paradise, but in reality, it is a toxic swamp. Every fibre of my being is screaming at the prospect of having my life ruined by this again.
All right. It's clear that sitting around base camp chewing on this isn't doing you any good. You need a distraction.
Possibly.
The Axel must be overwhelmed right now. Let's find something to help her with.
I'm amenable to this. Shall I let you ask her, or...?
Oh, no. You're coming with me.
I suppose it'd be good to catch up with her, and I'll meet you at Cassidy's Hold, then. See you soon.
Brynn and Lane, to what do I owe the pleasure?
We're hoping that there's something you can help us with. Or rather, We're hoping that there's something we can help you with.
I'm not sure I follow.
I've been at a loose end, gnawing on painful thoughts, only growing more despondent in the process.
Huh.
So we're here to focus on problems that are a little more tangible. What can we help you with?
That is very kind of you. I've had a great deal of difficulty keeping on top of things.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We're here to help. Like I said.
Right. I've got a petition from the Scouts here somewhere. Let me find it. Arakim has been nagging me about accessing the Archon's Hearth. Its stores of raw material could busy our Forge Masters for months. Now that I'm technically in charge, I'm loath to follow Kenrick's lead and recklessly sending the Scouts into dangerous situations. What I'm lacking to make that call is intelligence on the Archon's Hearth. Our documentation is decades out of date.
I've already spent a lot of time in there, actually. It was pretty hot, from what I recall.
Dangerous too, one would assume. Can you elaborate on what you saw in there?
While exploring where the Arcs were assembled, I couldn't help but imagine how busy it must have been back before the Surge. Archons seem big when I'm fighting them, but the scale feels totally different when they're attached to a scaffold.
Fascinating.
Well, it was only one area that was particularly hot, but all of it was dangerous.
I assume you refer to the Arcane Foundry, then?
Yeah. It was on another level to what you've got here at the Hold, or what we have at camp. I can't imagine how many Archon parts they produced per day. The most interesting part was where they grew the coral. I could feel the magic running through it.
It is a reminder that there are still lost secrets to be found.
Exactly. Anyway, there's lots going on in there. Do you think it's safe enough to send in the Scouts?
Not quite. I still have grave concerns about the fluctuating heat levels.
I believe I may have a solution for that. A potion that will maintain your body temperature even in the hottest conditions. I don't quite have the equipment to make it yet, but the knowledge is there.
That's wonderful news. That said, I would like a demonstration to be sure they work.
A fair stipulation. Some sort of combat encounter in the Archon's Hearth under the hottest possible conditions. Fighting an Archon that relies on fire magic would be ideal to demonstrate the potion's efficacy.
You know I'm always up for a challenge.
I have no doubt in your abilities after what I've witnessed you achieve.
Well then, I'll be back once I've felled a mighty construct.
See those massive pipes running along the roof? Norian design. I recognized them earlier, and they prompted my investigation into the Norians and the Enclave.
Confirming your findings that the Norians were heavily involved in the tapestry.
This should be the place, Brynn. You're looking for tablets with a circle marked by 6 dots. They'll look blank, but I'll be able to read them when you return back.
You're full of useful secrets.
That's one of them, Brynn. I hoped they would still be down here.
What should we expect?
The Norians were experimenting without informing the Enclave on the errors. They wanted them to do more than just modeling the weather. They wanted to control it.
They got tired of long winters? Gloomy days?
Think bigger. If you control the rain in a desert, you control the land itself. us to piece their research together, Brynn.
Will I be learning how Norians hide their information, Sev?
Yes. And if word gets out, we're both going to be hunted.
The best knowledge is always dangerous. I shouldn't be surprised the Norians use a fluid to conceal their secrets. It's ingenious, really. An acid of sorts that can etch the writing into the metal invisibly. And when you apply another compound, it oxidizes. It's like a legible rust, and yet, after you're done, you can just wipe it clean and it flakes off.
Medium aside, what did we learn?
As Sev expected, research on the aeroliths. It's a bit outside my speciality, so I passed it to Darm.
And how are we feeling about Sev's revelations?
It's not like I've never kept things from my friends, and I generally keep them from my family, so I empathize. But I don't keep them from the band. Anyway, Darm's waiting. Dash of this should do it.
Lane said I should talk to you about the plates we found for Sev.
Perhaps you could walk with me?
Sure.
I have already passed my notes on. This conversation isn't about them. I wanted to ask how you're doing with regards to Sev.
I feel for him. He's had to struggle with divided loyalties and had no one to lean on. Hiding that kind of strain can't have been easy. How lonely to carry that without help.
I agree. Our friend has been suffering in silence. You are kind to think of him first. But please don't forget, you are the one out there with her life on the line. You have your struggles too. There is a Brynn out there who wasn't deceived by her friend. Wasn't forced into the role of point so early, for that matter.
I promise you, I'm okay. But thank you for taking this moment.
Ultimately, I will say this. There was a time in my life I walked away from everything I held most important. Sev is handling it better than I did. He's not angry or bitter, he's just working through the problem. It's kind of you to help him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than he'll ever be able to say. So I'm saying it for him. Sev already has my notes. Good luck in your endeavors.
Exciting news, Brynn.
You figured out how to clear the source?
Nothing quite that far along, but we are a step closer. As I suspected, the Norians were doing experiments not even Enclave leadership knew about. Not to just stabilize the weather, but directly control its extremes.
Which is pretty much what we're seeing the aeroliths do, here and now.
I honestly think that these experiments, left unattended, are the direct cause of the wild temperature changes. Likely contributed to the floods as well, though I suspect Asylum was the larger cause there. Regardless, if I can pick up where their research left off, we might have a solution to our problem at the source.
What did the Norians stand to gain controlling the weather anyway?
Their power base has always been in Taza, where the deserts need water to grow. Imagine being able to withhold rain or worsen heat at a whim. What kind of power would that give you? The kind the worst parts of the Order crave.
If we succeed, will we be able to stop the weather fluctuations entirely?
I hope so, in time. But the system has been out of control for years. For now, I want to focus on our immediate problem of the Source and the Surgeborn.
Did your research say anything about miasma and tangles?
No. Those phenomena are too new to be in the records you recovered, which are pre-Surge.
What will it take to move from might have a solution to definitely have a solution for the Source?
The research you recovered focused on using patterns from creatures with natural flame and frost affinity. It used those patterns to briefly augment one part of the enchantments woven into an aerolith.
Use flame magic to tilt the aerolith hotter for a time?
Yes, exactly. And they had some success with it, proving the methods viable.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but too bad there aren't miasma creatures.
There's one, and Dharm already managed to recover some of its pattern.
But not enough?
Oh, absolutely enough. You've been working hard and it's paid off. I needed an exquisite resonance from all three types of magic. And we have that.
That's fantastic. Is that it then?
We're going to combine them with the Norian's notes and Darm's studies of the Herald to build a device to influence the aeroliths. I gave the design to Sola. She said it should be doable, but wants your approval on which materials to use.
If this could pull miasma out of the source somehow, sign me up.
It's the most promising lead I have, and it's very promising indeed.
That was one of the most complicated things we've ever collectively assembled.
I hope it wasn't too much.
Not at all. The only tough part was Dom hovering the entire time. He's enthralled with this device.
Oh, well,
I'm teasing you, Seth. I'm not sure if you'll still be my apprentice after all this, but I will tease you.
No more learning to smith.
Now, I'm not saying that. We just need to figure out what comes next together. Which brings me to the question of the hour. You were already a Norian. Why did you want to be my apprentice anyway?
Rambralem.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. You could have just told me.
That's a cultural thing for you, isn't it?
Oh, you know. Yes. Very much so, but yes, Sola. I'm sorry. I was afraid if you dug too hard into my past, you might learn about the Norians.
And they don't like people digging.
No, they truly don't. That is your answer, though.
And this is your intricate doodad. I cannot wait to see what it does.
Sola. Wait.
Dom, the interference I'm experiencing during expeditions is concerning. Is there any chance our scry is degrading like the ones belonging to the Enclave?
No. I'm positive this is something else entirely. Our scry remains unchanged. We have the means to test for degradation, and there is none. I'll need to investigate further.
As long as it doesn't give out on us completely in the meantime.
However, I have taken a look at the Spindle's copy of the workings of Archons, and thankfully, the writing is far more legible than Lucia's. And her notes are significantly less paranoid at that.
About that, Kenrick Stanold told me that Lucia wasn't just tinkering with the arc we followed through the Veil. She built it. The Ark of Verdance.
That is quite the revelation. What was it for?
That was all Kenrick could tell me. Or wanted to tell me, but... Sev mentioned that Kenrick had been feeding Isla information about a failsafe for the Source. Could the Ark of Verdance be the fix she was working on without realizing it?
Yes. Yes! That could be it. Genius, Brynn. On my side, I dug into her notes. She was working on a way to fully restore our Ark for us. She was so close to a schematic, intricate, elaborate, masterful. Solar has the final design ready for you. Essentially, we'll be creating a power core for the Ark. Most notably, we'll need a special part, a bar of shaped coral. This is the final key for an Ark to be functional on its own without a Weaver channeling magic into it.
If we had built a power core earlier, could her death have been prevented?
She only made this discovery in the final days of her life, researching all the Ark parts we had supplied her. Her research even theorizes that using one's own magic to power an Ark for brief amounts of time could result in death.
So she knew she was going to die at the Grand Gate?
She knew exactly what would happen, and did it anyway. That's courage.
We can't let it be in vain. So, then the Ark of Verdance is our failsafe. Your design will get it running. Where can I find the shaped coral?
She suspected it was kept in the Archon's hearth, stored near natural coral deposits for its regenerative properties.
Oh, Brynn.
Were you crying? Are you okay?
Yes. The rite of ashes just got to me, that's all. The spindle and the axle only had such a brief time together.
It's awful. I can't imagine how she's feeling right now.
So much in life can be fleeting. It just makes you appreciate what a gift the time you have with someone is.
Okay, let's take that again. I'm sorry, I needed a moment to step back and refocus after going off about Stanild. I am, I think, okay now.
I'm impressed. Not everyone can pull themselves out of that kind of anger.
A hard-won skill. When I first made head of the Scouts, Stanild did everything he could to undercut me. His favorite trick was poking and prodding until I lost my cool. Always worked.
You've seemed pretty together around him when I've been there.
Yeah. I started practicing Valanshir.
What's that?
The intersection between meditation, bare-hand combat, and breathing exercises. There's a complete series of whole-body motions, painfully slow, moving from pose to pose while controlling your breathing. But at the end, just before you reach the final pose, you explode into the final position, usually exhaling hard like, ha!
And that helps?
Oh yeah. It's a solid workout controlling your motions, but the real struggle is the mental focus. which can be exhausting, but after a few months of practice, it's like being able to slide into that calm headspace on command. A few deep breaths and Stanov can't touch me. Well, except when he puts my people in danger with his ego.
My mum used to say I could use some impulse control. Maybe I should get some lessons from you. And again, I'm truly sorry to hear about the losses. We'll make their sacrifices meaningful.
Yes, we will. Whatever it takes. Hard to believe I have a title now.
The Axel seemed certain you were ready for it.
Hirune's also a politician. She knows this somewhat buys my loyalty to her if she tries to become the next I.
Do you think this will drastically change how you interact with the other scouts?
In time, I imagine so. We've been without an advocate for so long, and right now's the best time for me to push. I do have some promising candidates to take over day-to-day operations. I suppose we'll have to accelerate that process.
Takes multiple people to replace you,
You got me. Yes, I was bragging. I think it's critical we have some checks to make sure the system's working. If one group is over or underperforming, I can try to work with them to figure out why. Winds, listen to me. Just chain me to a desk already. All I do is stare at scrolls and move abacus beads now.
Would you support her then?
Hirune's a practical lady. She knows the scouts are critical to our ongoing survival. Farming and fishing around Cassidans keeps us fed, but rare materials for alchemy, medicines, enchanting and so on, all us.
Which gives you some leverage.
It does, but also my title is precarious, as she granted it as acting eye. No one's going to challenge her, not right now. But implicitly, if she goes, I go with her.
Job 1 will be dealing with the source, right? You feeling up to it?
If it were all on me, I'd be overwhelmed. But I've got your band. An exceptional group with an exceptional point. But you tell me, am I ready?
You're ready to be a Khan, but I don't think you're ready to stop being a scout. And that's to your credit. Stanhope's failing was never getting his hands dirty. I don't think you'll make that mistake.
You are right. I have actually been stressed about that. I don't want to make my people think I'm shirking leadership, but I can't just sit around in the hall and do nothing.
Just do it. If you need to get out there, and you do, just go. Lead from the front, and then apply the lessons backwards.
That is damn good advice. Brynn, have I ever told you you're a genuinely impressive person?
Thanks. What brought that on?
Oria told me the story about you joining the band. Sounds like your last one was awful, but you stuck with it.
In comparison, joining Oria's group was like that first nice day after a brutal winter.
That's probably more relatable if I grew up in a mountain pass, huh?
No feeling like it. Temperatures that would have felt awful in autumn feel like a summer's day. And there's this endless, soft, watery trickle of everything melting.
Sounds incredible. Think you'll go back?
I have to. My mum and I did not part on the best terms. And while we've made up in letters, I owe her the biggest hug. And I want my dad to see how far I've come. Don't think he expected me to take up the sword, but he's always been supportive.
Maybe I could tag along. I feel like I've been denied something being literally stuck in here.
Deal. I might have to take leave from the band to do it, and travel's always safer with two. And while it's not always better with two, I feel like you and I could have a great time on the road together.
We could get up to hijinks, maybe even shenanigans.
Now we have to do it.
Hey you, how's my favorite point doing?
Really well, like always. Thought I'd see how you were holding up.
Still reeling a little from the attack, but getting my feet back under me. Forces me to be up all day more often than I should. I should talk to Dharm about that, actually.
Dharm uses some kind of sleep aid. Lane could help you with that.
Oh, are they the secret weapon? I wondered how Dharm does it. I can stay up past noon regularly, but I wear down if I do it too much.
To be fair, I think that's just Dharm. Fueled by his love of enchantment and solar in equal measure. The scouts probably appreciate you being available all day, but that will wear you down if you're not careful. You must have a day watch head who fills in when you sleep.
Yes, but I can't resist getting involved when it's important. I'll talk to Lane. Maybe they have some extra tricks up their sleeve. Oh, hey. I heard about you and Caminho.
Yeah. We're really happy.
So she's doing okay, overall?
Had a rough spell, but she's doing so much.
I heard the outline of it, but didn't want to pry. I'm really glad to hear she's good and that you're happy. Ooh, you were really moving out there.
I was told time was of the essence.
Yeah, but you made it look easy. Maybe someday you could give classes to the novice scouts.
I can't imagine your people really need classes in how to run. Comes kind of built in with having legs, no?
Well, you make it look effortless. But when someone's new to it, there's a lot to learn. Balance, gait, breathing.
I've had people note that training in the mountain air probably helped.
I've read about that, but... well, not a lot of chances to compare in recent years. But yes, breathing for distance is a skill, as is conserving energy so you have enough left to push when you need it. Remember when we were talking about the eye mobilizing? You said he's doing what we wanted, right?
I did. In retrospect, maybe a bad call.
No, it wasn't. We were playing a game, applying pressure. He responded. Poorly, of course. And even though it went terribly, we get to pick up the pieces now. Not some incompetent bureaucrat. All this time, the spindle was sneaking out of Cassidy's hold. And I had no idea.
Sounds like you two had more in common than you realized.
Just reminds me that you've got to tell people how you feel when you get the chance.
Was there something you wish you had told the spindle?
Just how much I appreciated her level head and expertise. And that we all knew her father wasn't why she was the spindle. By the way, did you hear what Oria said to me?
No?
I guess you can call me Madame Osphine.
No!
Oh, yes. You are a smart, capable, and amazing person. But you're a menace.
You performed the Rite of Ashes beautifully, Brynn.
Glad to hear it. Not being part of the church myself, I felt a little out of place.
I'm sure Isla is at peace.
The rite I read mentioned shrouding the spindle in an eternal warmth. Is that in reference to an afterlife?
Yes, although the Reformed sect do believe in an afterlife, it is featured more prominently in Orthodox Hallowpire beliefs. The idea being that the Great Fire is an ethereal, divine being which cannot be fully comprehended in this life, and who waits for its followers beyond this lifetime.
The Eye asked me to collect the ashes from the altar on his behalf. What does he intend to do with them?
It depends on the sect. But often the ashes from the ritual are interred with the body in a burial site. Other times, if it's a prominent family, which the Stanhold's seem to be, the ashes are housed in a family mausoleum. Tragic, of course, that a father must do this for his child instead of the other way around.
A religion founded on fire seems like a natural draw for weavers. Was that your experience in Renland?
Hardly. In Renland, magic was ostracized. And there, it was viewed as unnatural, pure ignorance. That's why I've turned my back on it for many years. But you're right, that the Stanhold family's religious beliefs are notable. The prominence of the church in Upper Denevron suggests the weavers here held it in high regard.
I appreciate your perspective on it, but I'd better let you get back to work.
Before you go, thank you for laying her to rest. You could have just paid your respects and left, but it was the right thing to do.
The last conversation I had with the spindle was about Ira's plague. I went to Cassidy's Hold to visit her.
Really? Well, my understanding was that she didn't experience it herself.
No, but she understood being stigmatized by it. Even though Ira's plague affects many races, most believe it only affects Kashar. I haven't known many others like me throughout my life. Not intimately, at least. It was nice to speak with someone who understood that part of me.
I'm glad you got that chance.
Agreed. We never know how much time we'll have with someone.
Let's make every second of ours count, then.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Could we just fill our lives with slow mornings in your tent from now on?
You'll get no complaints here. I'd take every chance I can get to watch the sunrise with you.
How do you do it?
Do what?
Make rest bearable. I've never been one to just sit in stillness. In fact, before you, lazing around sounded like torture. Not making the most of every second made me want to claw my skin off.
That sounds so sad to me.
I guess it was. With you, I can just be. And
I know what you mean.
Really? Because it seems like you've been an expert at staying present long before I came along. Sometimes it feels like you're ahead of me on a lot of this stuff.
I guess I've always thought that happiness only exists in the present. Planning too much for the future breeds anxiety, and meditating too much on the past breeds loss. So I have always tried to just be, as much as anyone can. But with you, these slow moments somehow make me feel irrelevant? That sounds bad, but I mean it in a good way.
I know. Like, there's no one to save and nothing to fix. The world just melts away.
What my father did for the Enclave is... well, it's more than I could hope to achieve. It's funny. My mother never lied about who he was, but she did leave a lot out.
Sounds like he was the hero she described, if not in the way you expected. But from where I'm standing, he seems more deserving of a statue than most.
Yes. You know I never looked down on my father for being a farmer, right? My reaction to finding out his identity for the first time wasn't about his job or him not being who I wanted or expected him to be. It was about me, not being who I thought I wanted to be. But perhaps my way of measuring success has been far too narrow all these years. And I can't help but wonder if my mother's was too. If that might be why she never told me who he was.
Maybe that was a part of it.
It wasn't like she put pressure on me, but there were always unspoken expectations. I needed to perform. And I'm grateful to her for that. I wouldn't have the career I've had if it weren't for her. She was a great mentor. But perhaps there's a cycle to break when it comes to how my family has defined its legacy. You do?
Of course. I told you I look up to you. I can't wait to learn as much from this phase of your career as I have from all the others.
Me too.
done.
That's all we needed. The others have been helping me with a little project on the side. A surprise for you.
No hints?
You'll see.
The Archon's hearth once more. Wish Isla was here to guide me.
I could assist in her absence.
What the?
Brynn, what?
Aurea, the scry has been compromised by the searchboard. Stay off it.
Compromised is such a strong word. I just want to talk. So, what are we looking for in the Archon's heart? I know the end works well. It is my region, after all.
Like I would tell you.
Whatever plan you've concocted, it would be better if we worked together.
You murdered my friend.
Technically, I didn't touch her. It isn't my fault she lacked the stamina to follow through on what she started.
There's a lot of coral here. I must be getting close to where the Enclave stored shaped bars. Will the Surgeborn know our plan when I pick it up? I guess that's a risk I need to take.
creature. Whatever you're planning to do with that is nothing compared to what we could accomplish if we put our minds together.
I can manage well enough on my own.
You could do so much more than manage.
What is Seth building? The Surgeborn in the Howling Jail somehow has access to the scry.
We know. I can feel it in there with me. It's not pleasant. We need to do something fast.
The good news is, as far as we can tell, it only has access when you're in the underworks. At most, it seems to cause interference when you're above ground. We don't think it can listen in.
Until we can block its presence, best to keep use of the scry to a minimum.
Aurea, I could feel the Surgeborn too. I know exactly what you mean.
Doesn't feel great.
The kind of nausea that only comes from the wind being knocked out of you.
It takes a lot out of me to stay connected to you when it's present, let alone speak.
That must be why there's interference.
What you're both describing, it makes me wonder if the Eye was under a deeper influence from the Surgeborn than we realized.
How so?
We assumed he was merely manipulated into a foolhardy plan, but what if the Surgeborn had some sort of effect on his mind?
I could believe it. But if that's the case, then we need to limit Brynn's exposure to it through the scry. Fast.
And yours.
I don't think it's me the Surgeborn wants to influence. From the sounds of it, it wants you.
Weavers need a physical connection to the scry to communicate, either by wearing the earpiece or touching the scroll. The Surgeborn doesn't have either, so how is it connecting to our scry?
Well, let's start with what we know. The imprisoned Talon was able to convince Stanild to open the gate. But the Herald was there and waiting. It was not surprised at all, despite the Scout's distractions. Ergo, the Herald and Talon were communicating somehow, yet the Talon had been imprisoned for years. Would it not be reasonable to suggest the Surgeborn can communicate with one another using something like our scry? Or worse, perhaps they can share thoughts needing no magic at all.
A single shared consciousness.
The implications are frankly staggering, but it is the only explanation I can think of for what we've observed. And if I'm correct, it's not such a leap to imagine creatures like this, or perhaps a creature, would be capable of infiltrating our scry.
Let's hear it. How bad is all this?
The scry is a complex piece of Weaver enchantment. That this Surgeborn has broken in is not good.
We still don't know exactly what it wants, but if it continues to infiltrate our constructs, this could mean an all-out war.
War?
Imagine they gain control of the Enclave's arcs. Sure, they're dangerous now, but with a sentient strategist behind them. They could storm the Maida in a couple of hundred strides.
You think the Surgeborn's interests expand beyond the Enclave?
With an enemy as calculated as this,
All right. How are we going to fix this?
the reason Aurea can sense the Surgeborn presence on the scry is likely because it's wielding magic to communicate. The same way Auria's mantle pulled. However, unlike Auria, the Surgeborn can't pull magic from the air around it. Otherwise, it would be talking to you all the time.
But it can only reach me when I'm underground.
Where the tangles are most dense. We need to cut off its access to raw magic.
That's where the spindle comes in. Thanks to her, we finally have the missing piece to get our escort here running.
It was a failsafe in the case that the source needed to be repaired. The Arc of Verdance will create a safe bubble against the tangles, which would be the natural consequence of any failure of the source.
Just like it did with the Veil.
Exactly. But without the crushing weight that caused it to fail.
So, the plan. We get the Ark to the source, it stabilizes the Enclave.
Or at the very least, starts the process.
If the Herald waiting down there doesn't destroy it first. I'll need to take it down, if this plan is going to work.
That sounds dangerous.
It might be a risk worth taking.
We have to. The Enclave is overflowing with raw magic, and this source is clearly the root of the problem. Too many tangles have led to the floods. They allow the Surgeborn to communicate and infect our enchantments. Without the source under control, we will never reclaim the Enclave.
Then that's our plan. We build a power core, then we speak to the Axle.
I'll join you at Cassidon's Hole.
And with this power core, we can fix our Arc of Verdance. I think this is what they call a full circle moment.
Huh. Lately, I feel like I've been running in circles.
Hey, I know things look bleak, but this is a win. Don't let the Talon rob you of it. You're finishing her work, after all.
You're right.
I always am. Now, I think you've got a meeting with the Axle.
It's a little bit beautiful, isn't it? It's like reaching into the past and shaking hands with its designer. We have achieved much.
I think she'd be happy to see it up and running.
I think so too. Plans set in motion decades ago, slowly ticking towards fruition.
What's all this, big guy?
The culmination of all our efforts, Brynn.
He wanted it to be a surprise.
Consider me impressed. But what exactly does it do?
He hasn't told you?
As Casmin said, I wanted it to be a surprise.
Sev, we all do better work with context. This is something you're going to need to get used to.
Yeah. You're a weaver now. I heard you say so yourself.
It's the culmination of a Norian dream. But unlike them, I'm not going to use it to put a nation in a stranglehold. No. I'm going to change the weather.
For me?
Yes. It will take some resources, so let's be judicious, but yes. We can change the weather before your expeditions.
So all those patterns I collected?
Critical to calibrating things. Weather and miasma alike. The creatures have been exposed to so many wild environmental swings. They were affected in ways I could use to calibrate to the aerolith's patterns.
And that's what Dom was helping with?
Everyone has helped Brynn. Literally everyone. No politics, no backstabbing. I could get used to this.
Good. All that stuff wastes time and energy.
You said this will take resources. Am I hunting more patterns, or...?
Nothing so dire.
Brynn, you've got enough to worry about. Let us sort it. We'll treat it just like upgrading the camp. Maybe I end up trading with the Hearthsiders. Maybe we do a little alchemy. We'll handle it.
Well, this is incredible. What's involved with actually making it happen?
Well, it's not simple for me. But for you, I'll keep it simple. If we want to make a change before you leave, we can do it as part of the preparation. The aeroliths are all connected, and the device we created will let me give them let's call it a shove, for a day or so.
We've run some limited tests, and everything holds up. It's really rather ingenious.
And we'll give you quite the edge. Imagine tossing a drought when a frost creature is hunting.
It can affect miasma, too, yes?
Yes, it can. Which is promising. If we can clear you a path somehow to the source, we know the Ark of Verdance should be able to give you a clear workspace.
For machinery repair and herald elimination alike.
Exactly. Now you need to find a way to reach the source. And I need to find a way to clear that path.
You look like you've got something on your mind, Sev.
I'm struggling a little, perhaps. I find myself torn.
Between Casmin's stews and Darn's spiced pork? Same.
Pork. Stew gets in my fur. That aside, I find myself both wanting to tear down the Norians and redeem them. Surely not everything they did was self-serving politics. There had to be some craft or artistry behind it.
That's the part of Norian-ness that appeals to you?
Recently I found records. Experiments to improve flow rates across the tapestry.
Better pipes.
Pretty much. The team was working on it right around the time the surge hit.
Any idea where?
Not too far from here. Odd they'd set up in a swamp, but perhaps it was a stress test.
We're going to have to fix the Enclave eventually. Better pipes can't hurt. I'll check it out.
You are tireless, Brynn.
I can sleep when I'm dead. Though as a point, I might be tempting fate by saying that.
You're right. But we all notice how hard you work. I know what it feels like to work without praise. Feels good to shine a little sun on your achievements.
Brynn, how did it go?
It worked amazingly. In fact, I was almost too cold.
Oh, I must have prepared it incorrectly. Perhaps too much stirring.
I'm kidding, Lane. It was perfect.
Ah, your elevated wit eludes me once again.
If you two are done messing around, it's excellent to hear that the potions worked. Lane, what sort of quantities can we produce for the scouts?
As much as you need. It's not hard to make.
That's very good news. I wonder why the Eye never explored this as an option.
I would assume the reason sits somewhere between lack of care and gross negligence. Speaking of the Eye, Brynn, the Axel and I had a chance to sit and talk for a while. Would you believe that she isn't his biggest fan either?
There were some subtle context clues that tipped me off.
We were indeed not very cordial with each other at the best of times.
In particular, the way he kept secrets rubbed us both the wrong way. We found ourselves in agreement that any new government here should be built on a foundation of trust and respect.
A foundation that will only be built if we secure our survival. Lane and I don't agree on everything, but it was good to sit and speak with someone who understands the nature of the work I'm doing.
It's not every day that one has the privilege of watching a new order emerge.
Perhaps you will be here to document it.
I should like that very much. The story of a new enclave should be made available to all. Every detail, out in the light. I'm struck with inspiration. I need to return to base camp and get started on my history. To be here as it's being written. To be the one writing it. Oh, what a privilege.
Oh, they're gone. Do they always do that?
Yes, that's a fairly frequent occurrence.
Well, with my mind at ease, for now, at least, I will thank you and bid you farewell. My list of petitions is smaller by one, for the moment.
We're here to help. Talk later. Khan Arteme, my Weaver Band has repaired the Ark we followed through the Veil, and discovered its true purpose.
To nullify the tangles at the source so it can be repaired.
Its anti-magic properties are why we were able to follow it through the Veil in the first place.
I see.
If we could get it to the source, we believe it could stabilize the Enclave.
Except the Grand Gate was broken when the Ark pushed the Herald back through it.
Surely there must be another way to reach the source.
Now that it's repaired, couldn't this ark be used to leave the Enclave the way you came?
In theory.
What are you saying, Khan Arteme?
It's time for someone to protect my people. I need to use that ark to get us all out of here.
You would leave with the Surgeborn running loose? Or worse, allow them to spread and wreak havoc across the Maida in your wake?
No one has succeeded in stopping them yet. We've been trapped inside the Enclave for decades. It's time to set ourselves free before the Surgeborn overtake Cassidon's hold and kill us all.
Is shoving problems under the rug truly the Enclave's legacy? Because it's a pattern at this point.
Agreed. Your people are better than this.
The Surgeborn has infiltrated our scry. It's learning how to use our enchantments against us. If we don't put a stop to this madness, how long until they overtake the Arcs? Or bring down the Veil and spread across the Maida?
That is concerning. Still, let's be clear. Even if you could reach the source, there's a massive Surgeborn that almost killed you lurking down there.
I'll be ready for the Herald this time.
And what are you gonna do about all the tangles? Punch them before they disintegrate you?
We will leverage the Aeroliths to control miasma at the source. We think this will clear a path so that I can escort the Ark.
Interesting. You've put more thought into this than I'd expected. But, as you've said, you have no way to reach the source.
Fine. Our plan has a few kinks to iron out.
More than a few.
How about this? If you can just give us time to present you with the final plan, it'll be your call whether or not we move forward on it.
I suppose that's fair. I can't pack up this stronghold in a day.
One more thing. It's clear by now the Enclave hides its secrets well. If there's any information on the source, I need access to it.
There are private records that can only be accessed with the Eye's signet. I suppose he's not using it at the moment, but...
Brynn did just save your people from certain death not too long ago.
Fine. You can borrow it. You should find information at the Spire in Upper Denevron, the Bastion, and the Institute.
We'll arrange a meeting with you when we're ready.
Good luck.
Is there anything else you can tell me about the Ark of Verdance?
Please. I've had enough. Just leave me be.
Fine. I understand.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy watching your expeditions on the Scry?
You do?
Look, it's no secret that when Aurea injured her wing, I was skeptical of you taking over expeditions. So I started watching you to make sure things were going well.
You mean to make sure I didn't screw up?
Fine. That's what I was doing. At least at first. On one of your first expeditions into the Hollow, I watched you take a swing at that massive Archon thinking it was inactive. Then, when its eye lit up, these visions of you dying started swarming me. I panicked and asked Aurea if you were ready for this, hoping she'd pull you out immediately. Then you began climbing the Ark, and it was like everything in my head just went quiet. That does not happen often. You had this serene look on your face, like this was exactly the challenge you'd been waiting a lifetime for.
It was.
When you took it down without breaking a sweat, I was secretly pretty impressed.
I like hearing you had faith in me, even back then.
It's only grown tenfold. After that, I enjoyed watching you on the Scry. Knowing you're out there, keeping all of us safe, relaxes me and keeps the visions at bay.
How are you feeling about Sev, Sola?
Delighted.
Not upset to lose an apprentice?
There will be more, and he's just a few yards away. I'm proud of him. And controlling the weather itself. I've learned from a lot of years on the road that change is the natural way of things.
Our time in the Enclave has certainly proven that.
Anticipating change and finding joy in it, the best thing you can do in your life.
Se você gostou dessa gameplay, não se esqueça de deixar o seu like para dar aquela força, se inscrever no canal se ainda não fez isso e ativar o sininho para não perder as próximas gameplays. A sua participação é super importante e me motiva a continuar trazendo mais conteúdo de qualidade para vocês. E aí, o que acharam dessa parte do jogo? Deixem nos comentários suas opiniões, dicas ou até mesmo sugestões do que gostariam de ver nos próximos vídeos. Muito obrigado por assistir e até o próximo episódio.